We have all heard the phrase, jack of all trades, master of none, right? And I'm a firm believer in it. I think that if we try and focus on building up our skills equally, we'll end up being just kind of okay at most things. And I'm sure that you want to be more than just a mediocre designer, right? Becoming a specialist, though, doesn't mean that you have to focus 100% of your efforts in building just one skill. There are other options available, and I want to talk to you in this video about building a T and then a V-shaped skill set. To start out with, I want to do something that is generally frowned upon in design resumes because it's cheesy and not very useful in that context. But I want to show you some graphs of my skills and how they've developed over the years. When I started out, I was studying a bunch of different things in design school, and eventually I decided to focus in on graphic design, mainly on print. I was doing ad campaigns, posters, brochures, branding, that sort of thing. But I also had skills in digital design and a little bit of motion. Within my first year of my career, though, I got more interested in web design and eventually chose to focus on that and make that the center of a T-shaped skill set. Now, the T-shaped skill set is where you dig deep on one thing, but you still have skills in other areas. As I got further into my career, I kept that focus on web design, but I also started picking up a bunch of other skills and widening the top of my T. This skill set allowed me to become a really great marketing designer because I had this focus on web design, but I also had the skills to tackle any other project that a marketing team might send my way. In the past few years, I've started to dig even deeper on some of these secondary skills, and I've ended up with a somewhat V-shaped skill set. What's important in this V-shaped skill set is that the surrounding skills aren't just any old random skills I felt like learning. They're things that I chose to learn because they can support my main skill of web design. The deeper I dig in these, the better I get as a web designer. The more I learn how to conduct quality user research and tests, the better designs I can create, the more informed by data they are. The more I learn about code, the better I can understand which design elements I'm creating will add to the build time and extend a deadline possibly, so I can adjust based on that. I'm also structuring my learning and development in these supporting skills based on what I know will help with the main skill. So with code, for example, there's obviously so much I could learn there. I could learn to code iOS apps. I could go for Ruby on Rails perhaps, but HTML, CSS, a bit of JavaScript, that's perfect for what I need as a web designer, so that's what I chose to focus on. I think this change from a pretty generalized skill set to focusing on one area to then building surrounding skills to support that specialty is a really common transition for designers to make and to go through in their career. I think it's really important too that we don't try and skip straight to this V shape, which I think is a great way to have a skill set, right? You're specializing in something, but you're learning from other areas to support that skill. We can't jump straight to that though. We need to go through the process of having a general skill set to figure out what we like, to figure out what we're interested in, what we're good at. Doing this can help you figure out what your specialty should be. And another thing that's important to realize is that your specialty is allowed to change. You can change what the stem of your T is whenever you'd like to, like I did with my switch from print to digital design. But the main reason that I would recommend picking a specialty is because there's only so much time in the day that we have for learning. And if we focus that learning, we're going to improve faster and we're going to be able to bring more value as a designer, either in a freelance capacity or working full-time for an employer. When it comes to choosing which skills to build as part of your skill set, which I know is something that a lot of you had questions about when I said I was going to film this video, I honestly think you need to follow your interests. What do you want to learn? What do you wish you were better at? Those are the skills you should focus on building. There's really no right or wrong thing to learn, but whatever you are learning, I do recommend that you take the approach of asking yourself how dabbling in this skill could help with the specialty or the thing that you want to be your specialty. So for example, all my examples are web design because I'm a web designer, so you're gonna have to live with that. But say I've got a web design project where I feel like perhaps an illustration or an animation could work really well in the header section. That is my chance to practice those skills, to dive a little into illustration, a little into animation, and learn what I need to know about it in order to support this web design project that I'm working on. That's when digging into surrounding skills becomes your way of actually getting better at the main skill. You need to supplement your learning and bring in some other skills there. And the cool thing about this is that it can change what type of designer you are. If I, for example, chose to focus my surrounding skills more on illustration and animation, maybe I'd be better suited for super creative, brand-driven web projects instead of the more conversion-driven landing pages that I specialize in now. Like I said, there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to deciding this, and you're in control of it. You can choose what you want to learn and what you want to focus on, and choose which unique set of skills you want to build up. I really like this way of thinking about skill sets because it gives us permission to not be great at everything. We don't have to be the best at everything. And with so many resources available to learn from, this approach to skill sets really helps us to focus our learning and to focus our attention on what we should be spending our time on. It does mean that you're actively choosing to not be suitable for every single design project, but I think that's okay, especially if you've built your skill set in a way that follows your interests. I, for example, am not suited to a design project where I would be asked to design a logo, to create a brand from scratch. That's not what I specialize in. It's also not what I enjoy doing. So I'm okay with not being an expert in that field. Knowing what your skill set is, knowing what value you can bring to a project can really help you in evaluating an opportunity and determining if it is really the right one for you and if it's something that you would excel at. I would love to hear in the comments what shape you think your skill set is in now. And when you share that, I'd also like to know where in your career you are too, because I think that mine has only really switched from being a T to being a V in the past maybe like 2 years or so. So yeah, that would be interesting. Let's chat about it. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it useful to hear my thoughts on building up a design skill set. Have a good week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.